What's up, guys? It has been a while, and we thought we'd stop back by and let you know where we're at, what we're doing, why we're doing it. Um, so, I'll give a quick introduction. Starting last year in August, for those of you who are not with us on 12th Light University, uh, I'll get to that in just a minute too. Uh, Last year in August, Michelle started working with a pendulum. And for those of you who don't know what that is, that's what one looks like. And it helps you divine the answers that you need when you ask questions about life, whether no matter what area of life it is. And so she has been perfecting her technique with that. And so for the really for the past 14 months or so, a little bit longer now, she has gotten really good with it. And the whole point that she's using it is because she's able to answer deep questions about her life, my life, some of our clients, well, most of our clients, to be honest, to answer questions about their lives. And we're going to talk a little bit today about how these readings can play into healing from autism, because I've had to use the readings myself quite a bit, and that has considerably helped with strep, being one of the toughest things I've had to overcome in healing from autism. And last December, I got COVID right before Christmas. And so I've dealt with a few of the long COVID symptoms, but they're getting better. But for me, that caused a good bit of weight gain. So I am, so I'm working on that as well. But with the pendulum and Michelle asking questions about how to heal strep, we found that a lot of the herbal remedies that we had been using, a lot of the medical medium stuff, wasn't as effective as I needed it to be. And so she started asking what would really help with the strep. And it's interesting because it's all over the counter stuff. And it isn't herbs, it's stuff you can easily get in a drugstore. So I'll tell you what they are. Mucinex.
Also,
one.
the guaifenesin is the name of it.
Yeah, is the generic name.
The generic name.
Guaifenesin. Most of you will probably know it as Mucinex. And then just the normal allergy pills, Claritin. And taking quite a few of those basically just dries up the environment in the body that strep lives in. And it works really well. You have to take quite a few of them, but what I should say is you have to take the amount that your pendulum tells you to, or Michelle's pendulum tells you to be honest.
Stick with what it says on the package unless you get it reading.
Yes, unless you get a reading. And so with her readings, I was taking things like 8, 9 Mucinex, guaifenesin, 8 or 9 of the allergy pills, and I would feel better the next day if I had behaviors that were causing me issues. But
adding raw garlic.
Well, that was the next step. What I was going to say is the guaifenesin and stuff worked for a while, but it wasn't quite enough. And so we asked, what should be the next step? Raw garlic. And
which you've been doing a long time.
Yeah, but I was doing raw garlic along with probiotics and along with herbs and stuff like that, and that stopped working sometime in the fall of last year. And then then the back in the spring, that's when you learned, this past spring is when you learned about the guaifenesin.
Yeah, he called it a biofilm. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, well, biofilms. For those of you who don't know, biofilms are collections of bacteria, viruses, other microorganisms, possibly parasites, that work together in the body to help each other survive. And that's the best way to put it. But because of a biofilm that can really, and SIBO is a biofilm, to give it, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth is a biofilm, and that is mainly the cause of strep if you've done the medical medium for so long. Now I know GAPS diet folks think it's yeast. No, it seems to be strep, because when you treat for strep, behaviors go away. Mine, other people's, we've seen this work for all kinds of parents who have children on the spectrum. And so you get rid of you break the biofilm. And I suspect that in SIBO, a biofilm interferes with serotonin production.
We did wonder that, didn't we?
Mm-hmm. And so I thought that was, I suspect. And so a lot of these adults with autism who feel like autism is a gift, you'll find that lots of them are angry. Mm-hmm. Well, sure, they're angry because they've been treated badly in life. I get it. So was I. And you got bullying. When you're an adult with autism, you get bullied no matter what your age is. And so, but their anger, truthfully, mostly stems from strep overgrowing in the small intestine and interfering with serotonin, interfering with any other brain chemicals that you need, neurotransmitters and things like that, I imagine as well, that you need to be a happy, functioning adult. And we're watching one of the cats push a tiny pumpkin off he's checking gravity, because that's all cats do. Yeah, you. And that was fried, by the way. But anyway, so the biofilm is something, and it's probably predominantly strep, that would make sense, is something that you need to break. And in PANS or pandas, strep is affecting bad behavior. So garlic works great for me now, just garlic. And I've been eating crazy amounts of strep foods, which I could no longer eat. Gluten bread, pasta.
Yes, you may have noticed that we've both gained weight. It's because we were able to start eating foods that we haven't eaten in years.
Yes, so
years.
So we're enjoying our time doing that and being a little bit weighty, and but that's okay. Off. But healing is a journey. It's not something that you have. And I've said this for those of us who have followed us. Those of you who have followed us from Heal Your Autism, you will know by watching the videos that I have talked a lot about how you take a step back and then you gain 2 or 3 more steps. And you need to move on, mister. Here, go, come on.
You're on TV.
If you're going to lay down, lay down. All right. So, but I think COVID also has contributed a little bit to weight gain as well.
Because I had COVID last year in February.
In February 2020.
And Mark got it in December of 2020.
Yeah, think about how your immune system has kept that down. Of course, you've also been home a lot, keeps it out. Mm-hmm. But the biofilm is the big insidious thing that you need to break when it comes to strep. And so I eat raw garlic every day.
Yeah, he's been putting it in tuna for us,
and not for the cats, just raw.
And cashew butter. It works well with cashew butter.
Yeah, or I use it in peanut butter.
Yeah.
And but
all things that are not good on medical medium. We've really changed our diet.
We have, because we can. I mean, the only reason we did, excuse me, is because we were able to. And so it's important to keep going, because sure, you have some setbacks, but the whole point is to get back on the horse and keep on riding. mean, you're not going to get anywhere if you fall off the horse and just lay down in the mud and cry about it for the rest of your life. And so we just keep getting back on the horse and keep healing. And that's the whole point. That's the reason we can eat the stuff that we couldn't eat before. I eat little bits of dairy, some butter sometimes, a tiny bit of cheese, stuff like that, but not much. But what's interesting is if I ate a little bit of dairy and I took my calcium and magnesium pills, the regular amount that I normally took, 2 of them, that would make me sick. There's a kitty in the way. And no, there's nothing up there, man. And so between the calcium, magnesium pills that the supplements that I was taking, and even just the tiny bit of dairy I was eating, that's Fry. Say hi, Fry. And if I didn't pay attention, they would make me sick. So Michelle asked her pendulum and said, okay, what does he need to do to keep getting sick, or keep from getting sick? And the answer she got was either dairy or calcium, not both.
Right.
And
because Mark has healed so much.
My gut and stomach and everything else has healed so much that I can eat a little bit of dairy and I get the calcium from it. But when I was fully autistic, I did not get nutrients from my food.
Right, it's amazing you're getting your nutrients.
And I can get it from the food now. Yeah. And if I take supplements, then I can get too much. So Michelle found out from her pendulum, hey, you need to either eat a little bit of dairy or take supplements, but not both.
Well, and he's not even supposed to take calcium much anymore.
Yeah, and so that keeps my brain going. I used to have to take calcium to stay sane.
Right.
Because I needed the calcitonin and the calcium for the calcitonin. And so, but now I don't even need to take hardly any calcium if I'm eating a little bit of dairy. If I'm eating a little bit of dairy, I don't take the calcium. If I don't eat dairy, I'll take some calcium. But I don't have to take much at all anymore. So, it's taken a little over 8.5. It's taken 8 years, 3 months, something like that. But it took you a lot longer to get sick.
Well, let's talk about why this surge of healing has happened.
Okay. Well, do you want to do that, or do you want me to do that?
Well, we can do it together.
Okay. Do you want to start, or do you want me to start?
Well, you start.
Okay. Michelle had, since August of last year, when she started with the pendulum, has also been working with an entity on the other side whose name is Philip. We'll say that is our recognizable name for him. His real name, I think he told Michelle, but it was just unpronounceable. Yeah, because that's what it sounds like. So, interesting person in the sense that he has all the answers. And so when she needs one, she goes to him through using the pendulum and gets the answers that she needs.
And it turns out I get readings very similar to what Edgar Casey would provide for people.
Yeah, if those of you who know Edgar Casey.
Right.
And so because of that, Philip has told her that since she's been working with him, Philip's told her over the past 6 months, 8 months maybe, that everybody is getting a new body that's being built energetically
and electrically.
And that those that this new body will start to heal on its own. And so go ahead.
It actually, some channels have come online for healing. I don't know if any of you are into energetic healing, like EFT.
Forgiveness is one.
Forgiveness.
EFT is also known as tapping. Let's see, reframing, Psyche, things like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's new ways to heal energetically, and they have come online, and that is what we have used to get this far in our healing, is using these channels with breath, making statements. So like, Mark, what was one of the big ones that made a difference for you?
Growing up in my family, people would use food to show that they loved you. And so I had to, and this must have been earlier in the year. It wasn't last year. It was earlier in the, yeah, it had to have been after end of June, beginning of July. So it's been in the past 4 months. And I would just keep eating and eating and eating and eating and eating and eating, and I'd eat way too much, and then I'd get sick. Now I did that as a kid too, and so that was never helpful, and it got me attention from my mom and dad, but pretty much always negative attention. And so I realized in
this is what we're looking at.
There's always distractions.
There's comedy happening in front of us.
Dude, you're on camera, okay? And but in July, sometime in July, I realized that I thought food was love, and so therefore I thought if I kept eating, I was loving myself. And so I had to breathe that belief through these channels that Michelle was talking about. And back then there were 9 channels, and it took a long time to get through this stuff.
Yeah.
Even just one, it could take 20 minutes just to get through one, or longer depending on how deep, But it took me like 20 or 30 minutes. And since then, you can just breathe in through 3 or 4 channels, and Norina.
That's once you get to the 5th dimension.
Well, once you get to the 5th dimension, though, we're all being pushed into the 5th dimension, into a state that is a much higher vibration / frequency, and that is a good thing. Philip says that those of us who are willing to go to the 5th dimension, that's great. Those folks who don't, they'll be moving on to another plane of existence, while the rest of the planet moves up in vibration. And so, all right, man. He stopped licking his leg. Now he's chewing on the camera.
So, what was a statement that you used to put through the channels? So what he was doing was changing his belief structures.
Yes, and I'll tell you, if you want to change your life, you really have to change your belief structures.
Yes.
Because your belief structures are the things that make you see life the way you see it. If you think the world is a horrible place, that's what you see.
Yeah.
And I mean this literally, very literally. If you believe that the world is a horrible place, that's exactly what you see. And I don't actually believe that now. Do I believe that there's things going on in the world that probably shouldn't? Sure. But those things have a way of taking care of themselves based on the vibration. So, Michelle wants to know what the specific belief was. And so for me, about the food and love and this kind of stuff, I thought, so the statement that I used was, I chose to believe that food is love. And so I breathed this through the channels that we had, and literally overnight, I went from wanting huge amounts of food, because I was covering up a lack of love, I think. And I went from eating huge amounts of food to eating one sandwich every 6 hours. Small sandwich too, not huge or anything else, And Michelle did the same thing. We eat so little now compared to what we used to, that it's amazing, because I never thought I could survive on the much smaller amounts of food that I'm now eating compared to what I used to. And I was eating every hour. Now I'll eat, and then 4 hours later, 5 hours later, I'll eat something else. You know, that's amazing to me. So,
right. So it can change your life the next day.
It can.
Usually you sleep on it, and it gets readjusted in your body grid. And then the next day you have a different projection of external world.
Right, you do, and you literally have a different projection of the external world.
Literally. And this is very apropos to autism.
Somebody said something. It happens, and
well, say it out loud.
Yeah, Nermina, it happens. Somebody pointed out that they had been falling off the MM wagon and had let their son fall off the gluten-free, dairy-free wagon. It happens because, you know, and I've talked about this too. You know the reason that you cheat is because the diet is pushing your limits of sanity, you might say, of tolerance for the foods. And so the reason you cheat is to kind of reground yourself. You're changing yourself so much that it's grating on your nerves to eat the foods after a while, to just stay on the food. So you cheat to give yourself a break. And then when you feel like you can, you go right back to the diet. We've done that. We've done that the entire time. In fact, we stopped medical medium in December of last year as a regular thing. But then we'll go back on it periodically if we feel like we need to. And so,
honestly, we've had more healing from using the channels to get rid of beliefs than we have from food.
Well, yeah, I'm going to say that's true because, you know, Medical Medium put out his book on the liver, a year or two ago, 3 years ago, something like that. And I'll be honest, it pissed me off. Not the whole book, but the one thing that said, oh, well, it takes 9 years to heal a liver. And I'm not going to say what just came to mind because it still pisses me off. But 9 years, we'd already been working on the diet for 3. But 9 years, 9, I'm like, I get it. You know, I mean, it probably took you, probably most of us were born sick. And it probably takes a decade or 2 or 3 to really get sick. But 9 years eating raw fruit and raw veg. Talk about fingernails down a chalkboard, because that's how she'll feel when she eats medical medium too much.
Well, now I have healed so much. If I have one smoothie, I get a flare.
Yeah.
Because it's too much detox. Right.
And so, so that's why we don't eat as much medical medium as we did, because it's so healing that it really makes you, it twists you up in knots, you know.
I just found out last week that I contracted Ebola when I was 23, and that's been a lot of my issue and didn't know it. So I went to Europe when I was 23 and contracted it in Milan. And how do I know this? Because that's what Philip said.
Right.
So
and you know, and that's the thing. People may wonder, well, you know, why are you talking to you know, somebody on the other side? Well, let me ask you this: if you can't get your answers here, where are you going to get your answers?
Yeah.
And the truth is, I think most every culture in the world believes that there's an afterlife. So then, where do eternal souls go if there's an afterlife? Okay, you can have your beliefs, that's fine, but we have ours. And so in this case, I think it's a positive and helpful belief.
So he had me buy something to take that has already made a difference for me.
Oh, what was that?
That homeopathic stuff.
Oh, yeah, the brown stuff. Yeah. And so, you know, and the thing is, all the healing stuff that he's told us to do has worked.
It has worked.
So that's
He said losing weight will be the last thing because we're getting rid of toxins.
Right.
And
and that's medical medium compliant. That's medical medium says the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, and it makes sense. That's where a lot of toxins go, is in fat. So think about that next time you eat a big old piece of pork fat or beef fat, or, you know.
Or after making hamburgers, eating all the fat out of the pan.
Yeah, that was me. And
hey, can you reach a tissue?
Well, and the nice brown juices. You know. So, but we have gone through lots and lots and lots of healing in this past year, probably as much as the previous 3 years, because medical medium healed the physical. But if you want to live the life that you want to live, the physical is only like 1/4 of what you have to heal. It really is, because you've got the physical, but you've got the mental and the emotional
and the spiritual
and the
energetic.
And you think, well, how's the energetic something separate? It is, and the reason I say that is because well, and I use the energetic in this case as emotional things, as for emotional things, stuff like that. And
the emotional body is actually separate from the energetic body. So the energetic body is more like the quantum you.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? That's it. Energetic. That's what I was trying to get. Is the quantum part of you, because you extend your whole existence is not just encased in this.
Right. You're out. You can go out 70 feet from where you feel like you are.
Right. So, and the Heart Math Institute in California has been studying that, which I find very interesting. It's how your bioelectric field radiates energy. Now, if you think that's not scientific, okay, then let me tell you this. Springer Verlag, they're a scientific publisher out of Germany originally, but they have a branch publishing office here in the U.S. And about 15 years ago, they published scientific papers. What they do is they publish scientific books and scientific papers, but mainly books. And one of their books was a collection of papers by biophysicists. In other words, biologists who work as physicists to study biological systems. And the entire book consisted of nothing but scientific articles on bioelectricity. Fascinating read.
Wow.
Because
that would be interesting.
Yeah, because it shows how much electricity our bodies produce, how much it radiates electricity, and all that stuff I find absolutely awesome, because between bioelectricity and the biophysicists who study that, and then the biophysicists who are obviously working at Heart Math Institute, they're showing that our biofield extends huge distances from us. And here's an interesting thing that happens at work, just to explain to you, and it's a short story here. I work at Whole Foods close to us, and I am just one of the workers in the there in the store. I have no responsibilities for management.
Although he did, but now he doesn't.
Right. And but even in other places when I didn't, I still had the same issue. The issue is people always walk up to me and say, "Well, you're the manager. I want to complain." Right? I'm not the manager. I'll have people constantly ask, "Are you the manager?" No. That happens to me at least 3 or 4 times a week. Sometimes twice a day. Now, I have been getting really annoyed by that, and because I don't want to be honest, I don't want to hear people's complaints. If you don't want to hear mine, I guarantee you I don't want to hear yours, and there's a reason for that. Because you're not really complaining to have an issue change. You're complaining to dump that negative. That is 90-something% of complaints. Rarely does a person come up and say, "Hey, look, I'm having a real problem here. How can you help me with this?" How often does that happen? 1 out of 10 times. Okay, so that annoys the crap out of me. So I told Michelle about it, and I told her how it's gotten bad. Well, so she asked Philip. Philip points out that my biofield extends out about 66 feet. So people see me from a huge distance, and 66 feet is actually pretty, it's 33 meters for those of you who are on the metric system, but 66 feet is a good long ways. And that being the case, 32 meters. And that being the case, people interact with it from a long distance and don't know. And what was interesting is Philip also said that one of my managers, she's a little short lady, she's 22, 23, something like that. Her biofield extends out even farther than my own. Okay, very interesting. I really like this person. She's an awesome person. And
but then you have another manager
whose biofield only extends 3 feet. And then one of our supervisors, theirs only extends about 3 feet.
1 feet.
1 foot.
Foot. One of them is 1 foot.
1 foot. I think that's actually our manager. But anyway, that being the case, these biofields are important because they interact with energy all around you. So
now, what does it mean when the biofield is only 1 foot out from you? Well, it means you have metals. You might have lots of attachments or...
Well, that's, you mean, why is your biofield only 1 foot?
Yes. I don't know what I said.
What does it mean when your biofield is only 1 foot?
Okay, so we said the same thing.
Well, maybe people reinterpret it differently. Go ahead.
But there can be it can be health issues.
Yeah, definitely.
It can be belief systems.
Yep.
So a healthy person would be about 70.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as we keep moving up into higher dimensions of vibration, it's going to extend to 150 feet.
Well, now, so you hear us talking about dimensions and stuff like that. The truth is, in higher vibrations, when you heal, you just naturally do that.
Yes.
When you clear up all your issues.
Yeah, all you have to do is heal.
Yeah, and all you have to do.
All you have to do.
But that's the thing. As you heal, your vibration goes up.
Right.
Vibration is what you put out into the world and what you get back from it because of it.
And your biofield extends.
Exactly. And so between those two things, that is what helps change your life because other people see that and other people want to interact with that and that kind of thing. So that's why we talk about energetic healing because that has to be done too.
So when we were talking about the electrical system and you said the bioelectrical, is that what you said that you were reading about? So chakras are like power stations for that.
Now this scientific book I was reading didn't talk anything about chakras, but that doesn't mean that they aren't real. I get science, I believe in science, but there are other ways of looking at things. Science is not the only way.
So like chakras govern certain organs and things. So if you have a particular problem, for instance, maybe you are experiencing fibroids. What are those?
Fibroid cysts.
Yeah. And you might have a fourth chakra that is full of crap and is collapsed and is
energetic dump.
Just not working at all. And so that would be something to also consider taking care of. So autism is probably a lot. I don't know this for sure, but it would be chakras up here a lot because the brain is so affected.
Yeah, but I think it's all of them, especially some of the ones in the gut, because if that stuff doesn't work, your brain doesn't work.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen that in my case, you've seen that in other cases too.
Yes.
But at the same time, all of the brain issues aren't necessarily gut related. If you have heavy metals floating around in your system to a certain extent, you have to get rid of those. And we've seen quite a few people put their kids on the heavy metal detox movie, and their reading has improved, their attention has improved, their focus has improved, they've been calmer, been able to make it through a school day without melting down.
Right, that's huge.
That is huge. And because who wants to live like that? As an adult, I didn't want to live like that, but I had no choice until I figured out what it was, and then I still had no choice until I figured out what we could heal. Then I thought, now I have a choice. So I do. So I healed it and I moved on. And I know that for the most part, our audience on Heal Your Autism feels like that they can. So that's why we're back now talking about it, is because the physical is only one part. I had to get rid of beliefs about people because I had very negative beliefs about people from being autistic because I got picked on so much. I just thought people were all crap and all mean and this kind of stuff. That wasn't necessarily the case.
He had a whole gestalt, an autistic gestalt.
Gestalt being a whole belief system
that he had to dismantle.
Yeah, and it took some time, but most of that belief system was only able to be removed by using the techniques that we learned this past year by breathing through the channels and the wormhole and all that kind of stuff.
And on our website, we have those channels. I'm going to look it up, and I thought I had it already.
Yeah, you don't even have it as a thing.
It's right here. Okay. I'll put it in the comments section.
Yeah, we're going to put a link to the page for the channels in the comments section.
So I need to do that on Instagram as well.
Probably have to do that after this.
You can do it. So this. There it is. So you can go there and see it. I write how to use them. Let me put it into here. You can talk.
Anyway, so the Human Factory Reset software, it isn't exactly like resetting your phone, right? Or wiping the hard drive on your computer and reinstalling the software. It is not that simple. Although some of you are like, reinstalling an operating system on a computer is simple, but relatively speaking, that can be resetting your phone can be an instantaneous change. And now you can do instantaneous changes with your beliefs with the channels that we're talking about here. However, to totally reset humanity, take your humanity, yourself, takes some time. That is not going to have to happen instantaneously. And we found out that the reason for that is this. It's simple. If you were able to change everything about you instantaneously, you wouldn't be able to manage the change. It is that simple. Too much would happen. Too much would change. Too much would move that you wouldn't be able to deal with it at all. And for instance, Michelle and I had got some marketing training a couple years ago. We were interested in something. And the marketing things they were teaching us were so good that one of the guys set up a business for somebody using the marketing tools. And so the guy that had the business set up for him, he called the guy back who set up the website and all this stuff and said, hey man, you have got to turn that website off. I have so much business out of you. I'm going to go broke in a week if I can't handle it. You see what I mean? Change has to come gradually because otherwise you can't do it. Because, and you'd think that that's something that you would have thought of yourself, but we had to ask Philip specifically that question because people are so impatient for better. And I know we're both exactly that way. We're so impatient to be better, to feel better, to get better, to do better, that we just push and push and push. We want it now. But it can't happen that way. It would be impossible to deal with it. You only have a shovel and you have to move a mountain. But if the mountain fell on you, it would kill you. Whether you had a bulldozer or a shovel.
That's true.
So, you have to take the mountain one shovel at a time. So that's why the Human Reset software works, but it works gradually, like it must. So, all right. Okay.
So, what we have now that's different We still have the 2 books for sale.
Mm-hmm.
But now we have readings that we can do.
Let's talk about that. And the readings, here's why they're important. Sometime back, and it may have been in April and May of this year, but someone on the private Heal Your Autism group said was having an issue with their son. Well, actually, there's been 2 or 3 people like that. They were having issues with their kids that they couldn't figure out. And Michelle, with permission, did a reading, free reading for them, and found out the issue. And so she gave them the information. They went on about it, and it worked. And so, and that's because, you've heard, a lot of you who are in the autism community trying to heal your kids have heard, well, if you've seen a person with autism, you've seen one person with autism. That meaning that autism can be very different from person to person to person. Well, some of the details can be. Yet the symptoms are pretty much the same, otherwise they wouldn't have autism. So the symptoms, some of the symptoms have causes that the autistic community, autism healing community doesn't really know about. And what was interesting, I think one particular, if I remember this correctly, one of the people that Michelle did a reading for, their son had a specific type of bacteria that I had never heard of.
That's right, I forgot about that.
That I had never heard of in the context of healing from autism. And she told his mom, and the mom said, I've never heard of it. And Michelle's like, I never heard of it. Listeria. And so the mom never would have known that had she not come to Michelle and Michelle asked for help. Now, you may think that's crazy. Okay, you're blocking yourself off from an avenue of healing if you think that's crazy. But it worked. And so that's why readings are important, not just for healing autism, but in this case, when you're stuck, and the whole point is here, you're healing autism, you're healing your son or your daughter or yourself, you're stuck. You don't know what to do. All the regular things that everybody, the mainstream stuff that people talk about, has worked for you up until this point. And you're like, okay, I'm stuck, I don't know why. That's when you come get a reading, right? You could say, well, I could go to a doctor. You could. But how many doctors are going to believe you when you say, well, I'm working on healing from autism? I don't even want to hear that. Because, like I said recently in a podcast, all help is self-help. If you go to a doctor and you get advice, if you choose not to take the advice, you're choosing to, you're making the choice not to help yourself. If you choose to take the advice, you're making the choice to help yourself. So it boils down literally to the choice of whether you want to help yourself with it or not. Whether you get the advice from a doctor, from someone who can talk to someone who has all the answers. What was your, should we call you a medium? Or what?
Well, what he says, I am a medium, and I am a visionary for Philip, and I'm an energy specialist. That's what he says.
Let's go with energy specialist or therapeutic medium. And because she's been able to, with those readings, help people get unstuck, and not just with autism. Here's another interesting story. A woman came to us. She was losing her hair, and she couldn't figure out why, and nobody else knew why. Doctors and that kind of thing. We don't know, And she was in patches. She was in patches.
Patches.
Yeah.
Quarter size.
Wow, that's pretty big. See, they're saying I don't even know what's good. And so quarter-sized patches of hair, and she had long hair.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was losing it pretty quickly. Well, Michelle went to Philip and said, hey, what's up? What's going on? He spells out radon, R-A-D-O-N.
It's actually in the pendulum chart, so he didn't spell it out.
Oh, he didn't spell it out? Okay.
If we want to be that technical.
Okay, that's fine. Well, that makes it easier. A few less seconds. And so, but radon. Well, then the woman says, well, we had to dig up our plumbing in the bathroom recently.
Well, it was about a year.
It was about a year?
Yeah.
Okay. And it was about a year before they did up the bathroom.
A year before the hair started falling out. Like 7 months. It was a long period.
Well, what you're saying is they dug up the bathroom about 7 months
before the hair started falling out.
So, that kind of gives you an idea. So, long enough so that nobody would have gone, oh, it was the bathroom. Well, apparently, a radon meter wasn't reading any radon in the bathroom at all.
No, it read high, but not bad for humans.
Oh, okay.
But this was done like 7 months to a year after the incident. So it was high.
Oh, so it might have been higher when they
right.
Well, okay, right. So, but see, it didn't occur to anybody until Michelle did the reading.
Well, Philip said, I would have never known.
Well, I know you're right. So, but that's my point.
Yeah.
You did the reading to get to the answer because you didn't know the answer.
Yeah, and he told her what to do.
Right. And so they got a reading, and it was high, but not high enough to harm humans. Well, apparently it was. At least it used to be.
What he did was he said it was a sudden release. This was later, because we found out that it was high, but not dangerous for humans. He said, but it was a sudden release.
Okay.
So then it dissipated.
Right. Well, so it dissipated. But see, so much time had elapsed that it never occurred to them that might have been the issue.
Well, who thinks about radon? I didn't even know it was a thing.
Well, I did, because I remember in the 80s, houses had meters for it,
Well,
of course, I also
you were in Oklahoma.
Well, that was in North Carolina,
Georgia,
and stuff like that. But, yeah, I remember it only because probably in cities, it's more important to have it. Out in the country, probably don't really do it much. But anyway, so the radon, nobody ever would have guessed radon. I mean, maybe sometime down in the future after she had lost all her hair, but radon. And so Philip told Michelle what the woman needed to take to have her hair grow back. And sure enough, last time we talked to the woman,
6 weeks later it was growing.
6 weeks later it was growing back. Yeah. What was it?
It was a heavy metal detox smoothie.
Oh.
I mean, come on.
Well, I'll think about that. See, and radon's not even a metal.
That's magic, that detox smoothie.
Yeah, I'd say so. See, the detox smoothie also helps with strep and viruses. Yeah. That's why it's so important.
It's really important. Everyone on the planet needs it.
Maybe we need detox smoothie.
Oh, no. It would be too much detox for us. We're at that.
Well, which is why you didn't do the Sumatra the last time.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, but that's just another story of how these readings help. Now, Michelle was going to point out that there's what is it? Something one.
Well, there's 4 kinds of readings depending on what you want. So there's a basic reading that's $49, and that would be the answer to one question. For instance, if you can't figure out why your child is suddenly constipated, we could ask that question and get that answer. But that is the only thing you'll get, just that answer for that price. And it's not just me charging, it's Philip charging. And that's the thing. It's taken, she's had these talents and abilities for 12 years now and been working on them since then. So, there's a lot of time and effort that's gone into improving the skills. So now, Philip likes to think of the body as an avatar, a computer. So he wanted to call these readings Avatar Resets. So Avatar Reset 1.0 is an extremely in-depth reading. So we would know about beliefs, contracts, specifically what is wrong with the body. There can be multiple issues. I had one chart take 14 hours to do. So this is extremely in-depth.
This is about as in-depth as it gets, because you're getting things that you couldn't get if you went to somebody else, like a psychologist or something.
So that is Avatar Reset 1.0. And you can go to 12th Flight University and click on the store in the menu, and then you'll see these. Okay, so then Avatar 2.0, oh wait, 1.0 is one reading, and I will send you an audio explaining it. You have the opportunity to ask questions one more time. Now, if you need more information than that, you would go to Avatar Reset 2.0, which is one reading once a week with an audio file explaining the reading. So that would be one time a week for a month. If you want to go even more in depth, Avatar Reset 3.0 is a reading twice a week with a coaching call each time. So that would be 8 in a month. Did I describe that well enough?
Yeah.
Is that clear?
Yeah. Avatar Reset 3.0 is taking a baseball bat to the bullshit.
Right. It's like taking a bigger shovel to the mountain.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, as in depth as that is, though, I think it's more like a nuclear reactor under the mountain. Yeah,
I knew you would have some kind of visual.
Yes, there you go.
So we have those 3 products. Then there is energy clearing available. So,
which is important because I think it was last year. A woman contacted us from the city about 3 years. Anyway, and said, "Hey, look, I've got some nieces. I have some energy issues. I've got some, and it's really causing problems. What can you do?" And Michelle was able to clear all of them.
Oh, I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I just didn't get further in depth.
Right. Okay. It was someone who is interested in communicating with the other side, who wasn't getting anything back where she had been getting things. And so I was able to clear her to be able to make that kind of communication. She was trying to have communication with her mother who had passed a year before. So, that's just one of the very many things that I can do. But clearing out chakras when you have illness is extremely important. Mm-hmm. But energy clearing is so individual, I can't put a price point on it. So the prerequisite is Avatar Reset 1.0 so that we know exactly what is going on and what Philip recommends.
Right. And the best thing you can do to have an idea of what you might want is to get on our website, www.12thlightuniversity, that's 12thlightuniversity.com, and go to the products page, because that will show you all the stuff.
It's called the store.
The store.
Called store.
The store. Excuse me. The store.
Not the only store.
Store. Okay. Yeah. Store. Go to store page, and you'll see all the different things that she has listed to help.
And what's really exciting is I can really help people.
Yeah, yeah, it's been amazing because it's like the best answer you could get to take care of the most thing. It's been the most efficient solution for everyone.
Mm-hmm. We've even healed the cats. Well, I say we. I mean me and Philip.
Yeah, and that is true. Because we had one of our guys. He was always the sicker one, and so there'd be 2 or 3, or sometimes 4 days a week when he'd just sit around
or he'd throw up over there.
He'd throw up and he looked miserable and feel miserable and that kind of stuff. And she's put enough of his energetic issues and belief issues and contracts and stuff like that.
Just as an example, this kitty cat had deep issues about being separated from his mother. He also had grief about being separated from his sister. Mm-hmm. He was also like a drunk in another life.
I can see that with him. Yeah, I can see that with him. He's probably in there flipping me off.
So it's really been interesting to see that animals aren't necessarily just animals.
Well, why not? I mean, I believe they got to have souls too. Whatever animates them animates us, you know. And so she is.
Well, when you go all the way down to the quantum, it's all the same.
Well, it really is. Well, it really is. And so her working on all that stuff for him has turned him into a new guy.
Yeah, he'll even jump like a centimeter off the ground now when he plays.
Well, his brother will jump like 3 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
Lori, his centimeter or 2 inches is about all he'll manage for the week. But at the same time, I think he likes to pace himself, and so he's like, I'll wait till next week. So, but he runs through the house now. He runs around like an antelope sometimes. He'll jump up and down.
He's so cute.
And so yeah, I mean, he never used to be that active until she worked on all this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's and just to see it make a difference in an animal, which you think is unreachable.
Right.
I mean,
yeah, I just used the channels. Philip told me what beliefs that Lori had, my kitty, and I sent him through the channels. That would be for people on the podcast. That's the 12flightuniversity.com/human. How do you say that? Factory-reset software.
Yeah.
Also, I wrote a short PDF book, an ebook that you can download from the website. It's free. All you can do is put your email in there and you get it for free.
Yep.
And it's teaching how to use these channels.
Yeah, you can post that.
Yeah, I'll post it after.
Okay. Well, anyway,
So Wednesday we're going to be on at 8 p.m. Central Time, and I'm going to look through my notes and get with Philip because he has told me before what all autism has in common to heal. Did I say that right?
Yeah, you mean the common symptoms that all autism has?
I wouldn't say symptoms. I would say the in-depth core.
Oh, you're talking about things like contracts and beliefs.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, and that. I know what you're getting at. Yeah.
So, like, I remember this from Alzheimer's. He said self-pity is involved in Alzheimer's.
I can see that.
So I know there's something at.
It's core emotional, energetic, contract/energetic issues that all autism has in common, and I can see that.
So I have it written down, but it's been quite a while since I looked at that, and he might have more to say to me now that I know more.
Yeah.
So Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Join us.
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely. Of course, we'll post it as well.
Yes.
So, all right,
okay,
guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.